oxygen, if it's out of whack or out of balance, it becomes deadly. And
Yeah.
nitrous oxide is exactly the same way. Nitrous oxide, even though it's only 6% of what's actually put into the atmosphere, compared to methane, which is about, what is it, about 28%, and the rest of it's CO2.
It's a pretty small number. It's actually it's effectively a quarter of the greenhouse gas emissions problem, but
Emission.
it's small. It's less than 10% in actual gas amount.
What are you
But
talking?
yeah, but it's effectively being 25 times. It's 25% of the
Yeah,
total.
okay. Yeah, it's actually about 25, 28%.
Yeah.
Remember, there's stuff that haven't been actually calculated over the last 2 years. And since this
Yeah.
big boom's been going on, I think we've actually put a lot more on there. Anyway,
Right.
now nitrous oxide is only rated at 6% of what goes in the atmosphere. However, the multiplier is 600 to 1.
Yeah.
So for every pound of atmospheric nitrous oxide that goes in the atmosphere, it equates to 600 pounds of CO2. So you can see how quickly that multiplies. In the real quick example, 150-pound bag of what's known as 46.6, that's the MPK numbers, works out when you transfer the solid weight to atmospheric weight transfer, which is what, 8.7? Multiplier of 8.7?
Okay.
It's either 8.7 or 7. I get confused what's going on. So so then you have, I don't know, you take 20 pounds, which is the weight factor of that particular product, and then that multiplier right there. Then you multiply that times the 600. You have roughly 100,000 pounds of atmospheric gas out of that 150-pound bag. It is extremely hazardous to our environment. That's one. Health-wise, it is poisonous to our animals. It says right on every package out there, don't let animals or your pets, people, children, or wildlife in the area for 48 hours. How are you going to keep wildlife out of it? But anyway, that's the warnings that are on there. And they are pertinent. I mean, I have people who raise race horses, and they remove their colts and fillies and stuff off the paddocks that they fertilize for 4 days afterwards because they get the hoof damage, right? So anyway, so there's another reason. Now, the real reason that I got into it was water, right? The longer you use a chemical-based product, as we go back to, there's something called a dehydration effect. And the more you use it, the less microbiology is in the soil. The less microbiology in the soil, the less water it holds. It becomes more and more like a sieve. You're putting water in, it's just filtering right through. Now you need more and more fertilizer and more water to achieve any kind of results that you need. So it becomes massively expensive water-wise. And so those are a few of the reasons. The cost factor is another. Chemical fertilizers, because it's got this ever-increasing incline of demand in order to get the same production out of it, it's going to continue to get more and more expensive. The funny thing is about this is a really bad business idea, but I developed a product that if you use it as recommended, by year 3, you don't need me anymore. By year 3, if you've already rocked your existing crops, whatever that is, whether it's a baseball diamond or whether it's a crop of corn or a crop of alfalfa or whatever it is, by year 3, without doing any damage to the soil, you've now got between 3 and 6 tons per acre of our product in that microbiological mat. And once you get to that point, that is really considered the point of diminished returns. You can't add any more and get any more gains out of it. But you do have to do a couple of things. Say if it's that baseball diamond, right? You let all the outfield grow 5 inches long, and then only cut 1 inch of it and use it and use a mulching on it and return that nitrogen back in that soil. So now you've got a totally redeveloped, or what's called a regenerative system in something that shouldn't be regenerative, right?
Mhm.
Okay, something just popped up in front of me. It was weird. So
Yeah.
anyway, so now you've actually taken a city park and turned it into a carbon farm, because what it's really doing, in essence, not in essence, but in actuality, is it's actually filtering the CO2 gases out of the atmosphere and sequestering them into the soil, because that's what happens
Yeah.
when you have a healthy microbiological mat working with a very healthy crop. Did I answer your question, Robert?
Oh, yes, it does. Yes. Now I have to move right along. How do you use it? I mean, how do you use your fertilizer, and what things have you done with it?
First thing you're asking me?
How do you use your fertilizer product? I mean, what are the major uses of it right now?
Well, oh, you mean commercially?
Yeah.
Right
Who do
now,
you sell to?
did I give you the Santa Fe just took the final 6 totes of the first order this year of 30 tons. They'll probably do another 50 tons of this pellet this year with us. We'll probably do about 45 tons in Alamogordo. We're talking with Deming. They're looking at probably about 25, 30 tons a year. We're Artesia, Carlsbad. We're also talking with the oil and gas industry, because they have so much soil to be redeveloped that's been neglected over the years. The mining and mineral industry, there again, that soil that has to be redeveloped. The Department of Transportation for roadside soil redevelopment.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I was just talking to the Parks Department, not Parks, the State Land Department, who is now taking over a whole new division of our recreational hiking trails. And the hiking trails, they want to have a 30-foot buffer of green around all of the hiking trails. And we've developed a delivery system for them. Right now, we're finalizing the first big order from the Air Force. You see, the thing is when I started reading or doing the research, I looked at the military's Department of Transportation's recommendations since 2006. Every year they put out an environmental impact kind of basically a roadmap of where they want to go.
Mm-hmm.
It identified a number of things over the years, and they'd also identified nitrous oxide, specifically called it out by name as a poison, and secondly, one of the 3 primary pollutants, and actually made it illegal to off-gas nitrous oxide on military bases. But there's never been anything on the market that actually worked in the area that ours does, even though it's been here for hundreds and hundreds of years, right?
Mm-hmm.
The regular compost cannot be used the same way this can, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because what we do is we take 4 different kinds of compost, and then 2 other kind of bedding materials like alfalfa meal and rice hulls, and then I add a sucrose in there as an attractant to the microbiology. So this is really a very broad spectrum feed with the idea, with a very deep micronutrient level in it, to attract as much and as varied microbiological life I can possibly bring to the table. And so there's never been anything on the market like this, but by building it the way I did, I took all of those things, like it would come out of your processing plant, and I break them all down to 200 to 300 microns.
Mm-hmm.
And once it's broke down to 200 to 300 microns, they're all blended together and broken down to 200 to 300 microns. Then I send them through the same equipment that makes wood burning pellets.
Okay.
So by the ton. And when they're broadcast, they just sit out there and totally inert. I mean, they're totally inert. My dogs think they're breath mints, but you set them out there, and they can